you guys, it's Crystal from the Abundantly Blessed Homestead, where we use the wisdom of our ancestors to make nourishing field and grow awesome food. Today I am coming to you from my pantry. I'm not exactly hiding from my kids, but kind of. But today is a requested video about what is in my real food pantry. What do I keep in stock and why? So we're going to cover that today. The first thing I did want to say, though, is a little bit of information about the live cooking shows that are taking place once a week on Tuesday nights at 5:15 p.m. Central Time. We have a ton of new subscribers, and if you're one of them, thank you so much for subscribing. But I just wanted to say that because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, when I go live, I have to use what's called a streaming service. And so if you're kind of waiting for a notification to let you know that I've gone live, or if you're getting on to YouTube and you're scrolling through your feed and you don't see me live, that is the reason why. So YouTube does not allow me to go live directly from the YouTube platform until we reach 1,000 subscribers, which is why it's so important that you share this channel with your friends so we can get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So just really quick, how to get to the live videos is you're going to have to remember it's happening on Tuesday night at 5:15. You're going to have to come to the Abundantly Blessed Homestead. You're going to have to search for it in the YouTube search icon. It will bring up my channel. You'll click on my channel, and then you will see the live video playing where you can go ahead and click on it and join in with the live action for our cooking show. So I just wanted to say that that's how it has to be done, just until we can get to 1,000 subscribers. We're about a fifth of the way there. Keep sharing with 5 of your friends and we could be there really, really quickly. That would be awesome to grow our community in that way. Okay, so now on to what is inside my pantry. Now, like I said before, this is what's in my pantry. May not be what's in your pantry. These are the choices that I've made for my family. And this is not all of our food by any means, but this is what I'm going to share with you today. Make it more realistic for those of you who are just trying to kind of bulk up your pantry, whether it be through the winter or because you don't want to go to the store because of certain illnesses going around. It's a good idea to have a little bit of extra food on hand. So, the things I'm going to discuss, my why. If you want more information, you can go to www.westinaprice.org. Also, another valuable book to have on hand is the Nourishing Traditions Cookbook by Sally Fallon. You can get this used on a lot of used book sites. You can also get it brand new from Amazon for around $20. This will tell you, not only is it a ton of recipes, but it's also a ton of information as to why I have chosen the things that I have chosen on the shelf behind me. So this will help explain a lot, okay? And also there's a ton of information on their website, absolutely for free. You can search out a ton of things, including a lot of health conditions on the website, okay? So this is in no means by any order as far as important goes. It's just what's in my pantry, okay? So number one is meat. We typically buy like half of a cow or a whole cow from a farmer. We raise our own chickens here. We're trying to expand our way of growing, but meat would be number one thing in a freezer. Preferably grass-fed and organic. If you can't afford that, the next step down would be just grass-fed or just organic. And after that would be, if you can find non-GMO, would be the good choices as far as meat goes. Also keep in mind that if you're getting your meat from a farmer, getting things like bones is a good idea. You can make bone broth. You can really use those bones. They are worth something. And honestly, if you're buying your meat from a farmer, you're paying hanging weight and you're paying for those bones per pound. So you might as well ask to get them. If you're going to ask to get them, the right bones to ask to make bone broth, really, really nourishing packed bone broth, are the bones that are right around the cow's joints. This has the most cartilage and the most bone marrow that's easily accessible when you're making products with bones in them. So anyway, that's that. Also the organ meats, things like liver. I did another video on the channel about how to make raw liver chips. Liver is extremely nourishing, and in a dried powder form, or if you can eat it raw, it is just basically like the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. It's a multivitamin all-in-one. So if you're interested in trying to get that into your family, I do have a video on raw liver chips that I will link down below. Next thing on the list, like I said, in no certain order, would be healthy animal fats. So I'm going to show you what I have behind me. Healthy animal fats provide energy for you. They're the building blocks to hormones within the body, hormone-like substances, and they are carriers for fat-soluble vitamins. Without fat, you can't utilize fat-soluble vitamins. So here we go. So for me, I have lard. I love lard because it's shelf stable. Okay, this is what lard looks like. It looks a lot like Crisco, only with more color. Okay, you will not find any Crisco inside my pantry. This is lard, and lard is from pigs. It's a pig fat. It can be stored at a cool temperature without any sort of preservation, or I just simply put these in the oven, warmed them up, and then put canning lids on the top to make them shelf stable in any room temperature. Okay, so that is lard from pastured pigs. If you can get it from pastured pigs, any of this stuff, any animal product that you can get from a animal that's been happy. I call them happy animals. They're on the pasture, and they are soaking up the sunshine and converting sunshine and green grass and lovely fresh water into nutrients for your family. So this is from a pastured pig. It's lard. Okay, so another option would be tallow. I don't have any tallow right now. It's not, if I had to pick between lard and tallow, I would pick lard. So I don't actually have a store of any tallow on hand right now. If I do happen to run out of lard, I will switch over to tallow, though, without question. That is another great source. It's basically beef fat that has been rendered into, once again, like kind of like a Crisco consistency that you can use and interchange with things like butter or in recipes that call for Crisco, etc. Okay. Another healthy fat would be butter. So let me grab my butter. Okay, this is our butter. I get it from Azure Standard by the case. If you are not buying from Azure Standard, why? But also, when you're in your supermarket, if you prefer just to go get groceries once a week, you're looking for grass-fed butter. Organic grass-fed is the best. If you can't find organic, then at least grass-fed would be good. But this stuff we get from Azure Standard. I buy it by the case, and it's less than $5.50 a pound. So, good deal on butter, okay? So that's another option. And you can freeze butter, okay? A lot of people don't know that you can just take it straight out of the box and freeze it. And then you just move it to your fridge, and it can kind of thaw out, and then you can use it that way. Other fats to have on hand are like duck fat, goose fat. You can buy those. A lot of places online offer already canned up duck fat and goose fat. Okay, so the next topic, let's see, is finding a local farmer. I think that's really, really important in this day and age when we are having such a breakdown in our food system, is to go back to the way things used to be, which is finding a local farmer that grows produce and meat that you can buy. This totally skips over trucking, depending on the trucking industry and infrastructure, totally skips over any sort of cargo ships that may or may not come in. The food is local, it's right there, you know who the farmer is and what they fed their animal, and you know that you can go get food. So that is very, very important. That is a passion of the Weston A. Price Foundation, is that everyone would try to buy as much food from a local farmer as possible. So if you get on their website, www.westonaprice.org, you can find a local chapter, a Weston A. Price chapter, and they are supposed to have resource lists available to you that they can email to you with a list of farmers and people locally that provide the food that Weston A. Price recommends that you consume. So that's very, very important. Get linked up with your chapters. Some of them even have meetings once a month that talk about different subjects. So, okay, so then the next thing, this is something that everyone preps up on and stocks up on, at least some people do, most of the world, is your beans and legumes, which I have stored down here. These are old 1 gallon coconut oil containers from Azure. I just washed them out, and now I put a cute little label on some of them. Here, hang on. Like this one. This is just little labels that I bought at Hobby Lobby, and they are like a chalkboard type label, and you can peel and stick and erase and all that sort of thing. Anyway, dry goods. We're talking rice. We're talking beans, you guys. We're talking lentils, any sort of legume, that sort of deal. So you can totally stock up on these things, and it's great to have them on hand, but I would just urge you to not forget about one important thing. Apple cider vinegar, guys. So you can stock up on all the beans and rice in the world and feel like you're the most prepared person, but if you don't have a way to properly prepare those grains, beans, in legumes, you're going to be robbing your body of essential nutrients during possibly the worst time. So make sure you have apple cider vinegar on hand to prepare those grains, okay? Azure Standard sells apple cider vinegar by the gallon, and then when it gets here, I put it into glass containers. You can also buy it in a smaller size container from Azure Standard, but their gallon only runs about $10, so it's a really good deal. So apple cider vinegar, don't forget about this in your preps as far as dry goods go, okay? Okay, so non-animal fats. Let's cover that. So coconut oil from Azure Standard. It's around, I think, $22 or $23 for an entire gallon of coconut oil. It's expeller pressed, so it does not contain any taste of coconut. You can use this interchangeably with any recipe that calls for Crisco, greasing of the pan, that sort of thing. Coconut oil is right here. Also, a lot of my grain-free recipes call for coconut oil. So, coconut oil by the gallon from Azure Standard, okay? So, coconut oil. Let's see, what other fats do I have? Oh, I know what other fats I have that are not. I took notes. So, just a second here. All right, so I have behind me here, let me grab it. Olive oil from Azure. They sell it by the gallon. They also sell smaller amounts. Okay. So, olive oil, I do not cook with olive oil. Olive oil is one of those oils that when you heat it up, it becomes unstable. And so I use this in dressings is where I use olive oil, okay? So it's good to have on hand. Not so good to cook with. Okay, avocado oil. I also use this for dressings. This is Azure Standard. Those are my non-animal, there's a sneeze, non-animal fats that I have on hand. Okay, so then on to the next thing. I'm trying to go relatively quickly here. Next subject will be fermented vegetables. So, if you know how to make sauerkraut, or you know how to make pickled beets, ginger carrots, that sort of thing, you can also carry it into fruits. So that's a really, really good way to preserve some food. So buying a large bag of carrots and making them into a fermented carrots is a great way to store food in your pantry. It's also a great way to health. It's much, much cheaper than probiotics. So that's a good option, okay? Next thing will be frozen vegetables and fruits. These are all in my big chest freezer. We grow some of them. I also can a lot out of the garden. So having enough fruits and vegetables on hand is a good idea in whatever fashion you can store them and preserve them. Okay, so this is something that I know in every video that I talk about, and that is make sure that you have lots of carrots, lots of celery, lots of onions, and lots of garlic, and if you can do potatoes on hand, because you can combine those with any raw meat and make some sort of a soup. So if you can buy a large bag of onions instead of just one or two when you go to the store, it's a good idea. They store well. They do not need to be stored inside the refrigerator. They are great at room temperature or cooler. You could store them in your garage. They would last much, much longer. Carrots, same thing. Into the refrigerator, they last 3 or 4 months without getting wilty if they're stored in one of those higher humidity type drawers. Celery can last about a month inside the refrigerator, but also with the celery and the carrots, you could dice them up, put them in freezer bags, and store them indefinitely inside your freezer and use them to make soups. Garlic, same thing, room temperature for a couple of months is just fine. So these items, just to give you an idea, just pack your pantry full of things that you can turn into meals. So that if you get sick or you can't go anywhere for 10 days or fill in the blank, something happens, a loss of a job or something, you have a way to make meals. Let's see. Next page. All right, so grain-free. Our family is not grain-free anymore, but we were grain-free for a very long time, and I still try to keep some of our meals grain-free. So one of the things in the grain-free is coconut flour. I buy mine from Azure Standard, no surprise there. I love their coconut flour. It is very, very, very affordable, and it's amazing. I typically love making meals with their coconut flour. It's just the right consistency that it doesn't mess up any of my recipes. So, Azure Standard coconut flour. The other thing that you might want to stock up on if you are grain-free is cauliflower rice. That gets stored inside the freezer. Okay, so that would be grain-free options. Another thing that I stock up on and obviously this is not all that I have, is hard white wheat to make bread. I make bread. And hard white wheat, I make sourdough. So hard white wheat. I also have soft white and hard red wheat that I use for more like pancakes and stuff like that. I do have that in a jar here. Another category inside my pantry would be sweeteners. So raw honey, and it's just an idea of what you can keep inside your pantry. Okay, raw honey. We've got maple syrup, and then molasses, which you can buy from Azure Standard in either a small bottle like this, a 1 gallon, or even a 5 gallon pail if you choose. Blackstrap molasses is really high in iron, and so people who are having iron problems, this is a good thing. But also any sort of recipe that calls for molasses, like gingerbread cookies or barbecue sauce, that sort of thing. Another grain-free item would be cassava flour. I also buy that from Azure Standard, but you could buy other places as well. Let's see, what else? Well, I always keep our lemon juice, the real lemon. It's pure lemon. There isn't any preservatives in this. I drink lemon water on a regular basis to keep my lymph flow moving. Let's see what else is back here. Of course, spices, and this is baking powder. Okay, baking powder, baking soda in large amounts is a good idea. Salt in large amounts is a good idea. Salt, our bodies need salt. If your body is having, and I'm talking about real salt, colored salt, pink Himalayan salt, sea salt, real salt. If your body has issues with salt and you've identified that it is salt, please look into the reasons why. There are a lot of health conditions that are undetected that cause problems with salt, but we do need the minerals in salt. This book does talk about that, about some of the possibilities of why you may be having not so good symptoms from the consumption of real salt, like actual salt, not white salt. Okay, so then another thing, along with all of my, down here on the bottom, right there, I have a box of spices, bulk spices, and then I fill up canning jars above my, if you guys have watched my show, it's above my stove on the shelf, okay? So I buy a lot of my bulk stuff from Azure. See if I can find an Azure bag. Here we go. This is cheddar cheese powder that I bought in the last order. Good for a quick macaroni and cheese dip, any sort of thing like that. It does have a few questionable preservative ingredients, but not very many. We won't be eating this on a regular basis, but it would be nice for a fast meal or a treat, okay? But Azure Standard sells a ton of spices and stuff like that. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to show you guys was like coconut flakes. Unsweetened organic coconut flakes. Azure does sell these. At the time I bought these, like a year ago, they weren't selling these, but these are amazing to make your own coconut milk, your own coconut flour, that sort of thing. So they, Azure calls them coconut, chipped coconut now is what they call them. They used to call them coconut flakes. If you search coconut flakes, it will not come up. So chipped coconut is a good thing to have on hand because you can make your own coconut milk. It's very, very easy. And your own coconut flour. Let's see what's inside my refrigerator. I'll turn you guys around and we'll look in there. But first, vanilla extract. That's something good to have on hand too when it comes to seasonings. I think that's it for seasonings in here. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around now. Okay, you guys, here we are at the front of the refrigerator. Let's open it and see what's happening. All right. So, in the door end here is fermented cod liver oil. This is an amazing supplement for vitamin A and D in the perfect amounts. This is green pasture fermented cod liver oil. I have some of my home canned good stuff in here, but I also have butter, which is stored up in here. I've said this in other videos, but Nancy's sour cream is a good option. Nancy's cream cheese. Okay. I have some produce from Azure. These are green peppers. I've got several containers of mushrooms that I need to chop up. It's for a meal this month. This is kind of like my leftover thing. Shelf. We've got sauerkraut on this shelf here. I have some broth made up, some raw milk. On this side is the raw milk right here. Carrots. I buy a big old bag of carrots from Azure. I buy a big box of apples from Azure. They sell really good produce. And then down the bottom would be our uncured bacon. Okay. But also our raw cheeses. We have Grazier's Jalapeno Raw Jack. It's really, really good. I've talked about it in other videos. I also have the Grazier's brand cheddar cheese raw. And then we have some mozzarella cheese that's also from Azure. And that's pretty much my entire pantry. Oh, no, it's not. Hang on. Down here, in this cabinet, right down here, is potatoes and onions. This is what I was talking about onions. Having a lot of them on hand is a really good idea. They will last a couple of months. And same thing with potatoes. Azure sells them in a small bag or a huge bag. I think there's like 10 bags, it's like 50 pounds of potatoes. But just remember, I've said this in my past videos, that you can buy, it's January now, almost February, go ahead and buy the big 50-pound bag of potatoes from Azure. And then by spring, when it's a few weeks before your last frost, you can go ahead and plant those potatoes. And they will grow into potato plants. It's much, much cheaper than organic seed potatoes, and it's organic seed potatoes. So that's a good deal. I think that's about it, you guys. I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Like I said, this is not at all a detailed entire pantry video. I'm sharing with you what I feel that everyone should have on hand. It's really, really easy when you have these things on hand to whip together meals. Oh, I have another thing grain-free. They make grain-free pasta, and they sell it on Azure. It's made out of cassava. So that's a total good option for pasta. You can also get like einkorn wheat pasta if you can handle wheat. Okay, that's a good idea. But just having some healthy pasta on hand is a good idea for a quick meal. I think that's it, you guys. I'm going to be doing a video on meal planning, and so that'll be coming out soon. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Please share this video with your friends. Let's get some more people on the channel so we can get to our 1,000 subscriber mark. Once we hit that, we're going to have a giveaway, you guys. Let's get there quickly so our lives go so much smoother, and share the news of how to eat nourishing food for everyone worldwide, okay? So go ahead and share this video. I really appreciate it. Put the thumb up. I would love that also. It helps with the algorithm so more people can see my videos, and we can grow our community. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the live cooking class at 5:15 Central Time. Thanks for watching.